Thank you.
So,
Okay.
29th of February, Rabbi Furst, Pierke Avos, Esther.
yes, thank you, Lou. As Lou mentioned, this is Rabbi Shlomo First here at Siva Shamanavshi, Yerushalayim Care Zoom. This is our first year. This morning we're learning Megillus Esther. We're in the first parak, and we, I believe, are pasuk pasuk Yud Daled, I believe. Yes.
I think it was Tet Vav, no?
Okay, Ronnie.
I have a
Right.
note that we're supposed to read Ezra.
That's right. Right. Thank you. Very good. I'm glad. I'm glad we made those notes. Right. So if you have it tonight, if you have your Tanakh there, okay. Let's go to Ezra. We'll read it in English just because we want to get the basic understanding of what's going on here a bit. This is very important to understand the background to Purim. So yeah. Yes.
So it's Daled Vav.
Yeah.
My wife is using the Tanakh at the moment. So
Excuse me.
my wife is using the Tanakh at the moment.
Okay. I'll have to listen. Okay. So, but let's see. Yeah, we'll start from the beginning of the parak. Okay. Ezra. Okay, we're learning Ezra and parak Dalet. Yeah. Who would like to read?
I would.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Now, when the adversaries of Yehuda and Binyamin heard that the children of the exiles were building the temple to the Lord God of Israel, then they came to Zerubbabel and to the chiefs of the fathers' houses and said to them, "Let us build with you, for we seek God as you do, and we have sacrificed to him since the days of Esar Chadadon, king of Ashur, who brought us up here. But Zerubbabel and Yeshua and the rest of the chiefs of the fathers' houses of Israel said to them, you have nothing to do with us in building a house to our God. But we ourselves alone will build to the Lord God of Israel, as King Koresh, the king of Paras, has commanded us. Then the people of the land weakened the hands of the people of Yehuda and frightened them off from building. And they hired counselors against them to frustrate their purpose all the days of Koresh, king of Paras, until the reign of Dariavesh, king of Paras. And in the reign of Achashverosh, in the beginning of his reign, they wrote to him an accusation against the inhabitants of Yehuda and Jerusalem. And in the days of Artachshasta, Bishlam.
Okay, that might be enough. Right. So you see here, this was this last pasuk that was quoted. That you see in the days of Achashverosh, they at the beginning of his reign, they wrote this in the indictment against the inhabitants of Yehuda and Yerushalayim, and based on that, after that was the he put an order to stop the building of the Beis Hamikdash.
Okay.
So, good. So that's the background of what's going on here. Just previous to to when Purim occurred, the Suda Achashverosh and such, right? Because that was at the beginning of his reign, and the Suda took place in the third year of his reign, right?
Right?
So that's the background that we need to understand why it's so significant that Achashverosh was involved with the suspending of the building of the Beis Hamikdash. Okay, good. Fine. So, okay, with that done, I think we can return to Megillah. I just wanted you to get a picture of what was going on there based on the Psukim in Ezra.
Okay,
Okay,
so we're in chapter 1, verse 12.
And on further than that, I
yeah, I
think
believe
15 or 16,
the
maybe even 17. One of those. Well, what did we do?
Kedah Mala Sos B'Malka. Yeah. Right, we did, we should be in, I believe, 16.
Yeah.
16, right.
Yeah.
Okay. Go
Oyomer
ahead.
Mimuchan Livnei Hamelech Baha Saris Lo Al Hamelech Levado Av Sa Vashti Hamalka He Al Kol Ha Sarim Va'al Kol Ha'amim Asher Bechol Midinos Hamelech Achashverosh. So Mimuchan spoke before the king and the princes, not only against the king alone, has Vashti done wrong? Queen Vashti done wrong.
Excuse me, Lou?
Not only against the king has Queen Vashti done wrong,
Right,
against all of the nobles and all of the people that are in all the provinces of King Achashverosh. Weiter?
1 second, let's see. That brings us to Tess Zion. Let's see in our document, what do we have in Tess Zion in our document? Bioma Mukhon. Let's see, there, so it should be, I think, page 3. We're now ready, correct?
Hold on a second, I gotta get the door.
So it says here in the Yom Muchan, let's take a look at our document here. Muchan Kasiv. Shai Muchan Lepranius. He was Muchan, something which is Muchan is prepared. So he's Muchan Lepranius. He's prepared for Pranius. Pranius are like calamities. Muchan Hayedyut Shebekulan. Muchan was the most common of all of them, because there were 7 of them mentioned here. So Muchan was the most common of them. So Amarav Abba Bar Kahana Mikan Shehedit Kafis Barosh. You see that even though he's the smallest of them all, he was the one who spoke up first. So you see, there's a saying that a hedyot is covered sparosh. The one who's the commoner, he'll always jump ahead. He'll always try and, even though there are people smarter and greater than him, wiser than him, nevertheless, the person who's more foolish and common and plain, lacking the sense of and the derech eretz, he jumps to be first. Right? Shnei Amorein Nelchok B'Davar. So you have two of the Amoroim Nelchok B'Davar. They argue about this. Chad Omer B'nei Shu Zamantoi L'Suda. Number one says since he was not invited to the Suda, the Kach Lamed Aleha Choyva, therefore he was learned, it was taught about him to be obligated, chayiv. Shistarto al pana. Now I'm not sure what that this is a reference to. I'm not sure what this is a reference to. 1 second. 1 second. Because the Chazal is explaining to you why is it speaking about that Mukhan is talking here first, right?
Mhm.
Why is it referring to Mukhan?
I've got a note here that's interesting, but it's not answering the question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I can't speak. Mamuchan declared, a Tana taught, which is what we heard already. Mamuchan is Haman. Why was he called Mamuchan? Because he was destined Muchan for destruction. Rav Kahana said, from here we see that ignorance always thrusts himself to the forefront. That's what we've said already, right? Mamuchan is mentioned last in verse 14, yet he speaks first. It's in Megillah 12b, Midrash there. So everywhere else he is referred to as Mamuchan, but here he is called Mumuchon. Okay, so the letters are the same. It's mem. Oh, I should write here mem vav ches chof nun sofit. But here he is called Muchon, Mumuchon. That's mem vav mem chof nun sofit. And that's a combination of the two words mum chon, meaning a blemish is here. The blemish is his discourtesy in speaking out of turn. The Torah is not tolerant of boorishness, Masorah Habris. I don't know if I was clear in what I said about the two names, but they're spelled different. There's two mems everywhere else, but here there's only one mem at the beginning. Memuchon everywhere else, but Mumuchon here.
Here the vav is first. The vav is between the two mems. Right. So that's a mum khan. There's a mum khan. That's like a contraction of mum khan. There's a mum here. So it's pointing out that he was faulty. He was blemished. And as it says, he was a hedyot. He was listed last in the previous psukim. Then here he's jumping first. Very good. Yeah, that's very good. Fine. Okay, now I don't understand. I'm still not clear what it means. Echad minei shelo, he says mino l'suda. L'chach omer aleh chayva. Echad omer b'nei shesarto al panav. He was slapped on the face. I don't know what this is referring to. I'm sorry. Not sure. Okay, we'll have to leave that for now until I find out more about it, Lynette, if I can. No, no, I'm not getting any help with this right now. Okay, let's continue on with the next pasuk. That'll bring us to pasuk,
17.
yes, please.
Ki yetze devar hamalka al kol hanashim lehav lehavzos ba'alehem be'enehem be'amram hamelech achashverosh amar lahavi es Vashti hamalka lefanav below ba. Okay, so let's see. Because the word of the king went out on all of the women. Let's see. I'm sorry, what the queen did will become known to all the women. And they will look down upon their husbands, saying that King Ahasuerus ordered Queen Vashti to come before him, and she did not come.
Oh, that's her crime. That's Vashti's crime, you see?
She's going to set a bad example for all the women.
Exactly, exactly. That can't be tolerated, right? And if we tolerate that, there's going to be a lot of trouble.
Mm. This is a misogynist society,
Oh, what?
an anti-women society, misogynist. They're,
Why do you say that?
because of the way that says here that the attention of the women making their husbands contemptible in their eyes, that all women are going to be against their husbands, and you can't do this. You've got to have it the other way around, that the women are all with their husbands, doing what their husbands tell them to do.
Yeah, no, we want shalom bias. It's going to cause it's going to cause problems in the families.
Yeah, yeah.
Nothing to do with the male supremacy or anything like that. It's simply why it's going to interfere with shalom bias. We don't unfortunately in our society, in our culture, we don't realize the value of a family. The family is the basic unit of society, right? We live in a time and in a culture and a civilization that doesn't value family, and then unfortunately that's going to be the destruction of the civilization, because if you don't have a basic
Yeah, yeah.
family unit, without that basic family unit, society can't continue, right? Well, that was what that was being pointed out here. This what Vashti has done is now created a situation by which, if we don't set an example of her, right, it's going to interfere with the basic functioning of the family unit, which is a terrible thing for society. In those days, they realized the value of the family as a basic unit of society and culture. We don't appreciate that these days, right? People are not interested in getting married. They're not taught to get married.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm. Okay.
But on the other hand, this is a bad example. You've got a you've got a husband who is acting inappropriately, ordering his wife to do something that's not right, and she refuses. She's doing the right thing. She should refuse. And the women of
That's not true. That's not true. That's not true. Because I'll say that the who's an Isha Kashera is she also Ratzon Baila. The Isha Kashera is the woman that does the will of the husband.
But she couldn't appear before them because of her situation with the tail and the green and all that stuff.
Exactly. That she would have really she would have wanted to do it. She had no problem doing it. She would. That's what the Midrash said. And Rashi says she's a priestess. She would have been happy to show up. She was looking and willing and able to do that. If it wasn't for the miracle that HaKadosh Baruch Hu did, that he sent the Malach Gabriel and made a tail for her, she would have done it. Right? This was divine intervention in the history of the world, in the history of Klal Yisrael, that Vashti grew a tail, and therefore she did not come. Right? So therefore she was now in a situation where she was violating the will of the king. Now she could have done it in a way that didn't get the king so upset. Right? She could have maybe said I need to have an operation, and we'll take care of this operation, and maybe we can, whatever. She could have done it, but she didn't do that. She did it in a way that was angering of the king. That right? She angered the king. She was not being an Isha Kashera. She angered her husband, and she was not listening to his will, and therefore, so she's chayiv because of her disobedience to the king. And this is the one of the, as I said, this was probably the first miracle that we have in the Megillah, and that's what set everything off.
It just occurred to me, maybe she was the only one who could see her tail, because there was no reaction recorded, as far as I can not hear anyway, from her maidens, and if the king's chamberlains came to her when she had the tail, they didn't see it.
Probably not. She probably wasn't interested in showing it off.
No, but maybe she couldn't. I mean, where would you hide your tail? Come on, how would you hide your tail from your wife, or if we came to you? So I'm wondering if it wasn't a sort of like an illusion that she was caused to see.
Well, that I don't have any information about that, so I can't say. I'm not sure.
She didn't scream or anything when it grew or was there, or
Yeah, well, she probably
Anyway.
was. She was probably making an appointment with her skin doctor or something like that to take care of it. But she also had the tsaras. Also, she had tsaras as well.
yeah.
So yeah. So this was a threat to the society and the culture. So therefore, she now has to be made. Apparently, she has to be made some type of a example of that.
Right.
Let's see what. Yeah. Now, what's it? Key. Let's see. What does it say in Yud Zayin? Here, go. Let's go to our document Yud Zayin.
Yud Zayin. Hi yatzah davar Amalka. Because the queen did not want to go. Kol Parza
It's Pirza.
Kol Pirza she'ena min hagidolim Eva Eina Parza. Pirza.
Pierce is a breach. Pierce is a breach.
Breach. So every breach that is not from the Gedolim is not a breach.
Right, right. What again? A breach is in the decorum and in the etiquette and in the way of life that people behave. Meaning, normally people behave in a certain way, and okay, so you can have people that do things not according to the proper norm, the proper etiquette, the decorum of the time, but that's not so serious. But when one of the gedolim, when one of the leaders does that, that is considered a pirza. That's considered a breach that has to be dealt with. I'll give you two examples. There was a study done that there was a camera set up on a very busy New York City street corner. If you know anything about Manhattan, the lights change, the cars go, the history, they have the walk signal, right? And so they set up, the experiment was set up to see the reaction of the various different people. They had that there was supposed to be a situation where they're going to be jaywalking, right? So they had the setup was that they would have the person who was going to be jaywalking. He would be dressed up in a very proper suit. He'd be carrying a briefcase. Looks like a very important person. Probably makes a lot of money, right? He's well dressed, and he jaywalks. And the other opposite side of the experiment was they had a person who was dressed down. He just in drudgery jeans. His hair's all shoveled. Didn't have a shaven beard. It was a bum. So they found consistently that when the person who was dressed what they considered to be properly would jaywalk, there would be more people consistently walking and jaywalking along with him. Whereas if the bum was jaywalking, there would be consistency less people jaywalking with the bum than with the properly dressed person, so to speak. So you see from that, what was their conclusion? The conclusion was that you see people take an example from people who are important, and they don't take an example from people who are not important. So that's an illustration of what took place over here. Another historical example I'll give you, that up until JFK, all the presidents of the United States during their inauguration would wear a top hat. They'd wear a top hat, and JFK was the first one not to wear a top hat. And this was keeping in consistency with his policy. He had a new way of life, a new vision, and unfortunately he got shot in the head because of it. So he made a pirza, he made a breach, and you see that his breach was well taken care of with a bullet in his head. So you see, that's what the Chazal is saying. If there's a breach in the norm of society, so that's not so serious, then that's not considered a pirza, a real breach. But when the Gedolim, when the leaders of the society make a breach, so that's considered a breach, and there has to be some type of dealing with it in one way or another to compensate for the breach that's been created. So that's why it was so serious that when this news of Vashti would be getting out, and the women would be finding out about it, right? That would create a pirza, and that was something that had to be dealt with. So that led to the demise of Vashti. Okay. Fine. Let's see 1 second. And that's also what the Maharal is making a point over here also. It says, if you look at the pasuk, because the ki yotzi davar hamalka, when the thing about the queen will get out, didn't mention Vashti. It meant the queen. The emphasis is on the fact that the queen did something. It's not something that specifically that Vashti did herself, but something that the queen did. Since the queen did something, that's what the pirza, that's the breach which has to be dealt with. Since something which the queen did, not simply that something Vashti did or something Vashti who was the queen. No, the queen did something. So when the queen does something, that's something which is going to have an effect, and it has to be dealt with in the appropriate way. Okay, let's continue. I guess we can go to the next pasuk. That'll bring us to pasuk Yud Ches.
Hayom hazeh to marna saros paras umadai asher shamu es devar hamalka l'chol sarei hamelech uchadai bizayon vakatef. And even today, the women of Persia and Media who heard what the queen did will speak about it to all the king's nobles, and it will cause much disrespect and anger.
Right. So this is an emphasis. It's really it's repetitious. I mean, what's the necessity of this being said before? We already said that it's going to cause a big problem, right? So why is it being repeated over here again?
Well, this is Memucan speaking, right?
Right.
So I think before it was the narration, right, that was saying this is the way the world works, and now it's Memucan's saying this is what he thinks.
Could be.
Actually, I'm not sure that it's so repetitious. I don't know that it. Looking back, I don't see that it specifically says this.
What's the Ibn Ezra? The Ibn Ezra says what's the Bizoyon V'Ketzef? That's going to be Bizoyon V'Ketzef is going to be between husbands and wives. It's going to be between husbands and wives. Whoa.
This is second part. The second time that is it sort of like a consolidation of what the situation is, and the that your wife will take an example from the Queen,
Right.
sort of like a and you'll be in trouble.
Right. Right. In the previous pasuk, in pasuk Yud Zayin, right? It's going to go out. I'll call Anashim, all the women, right? And here it's like specifically saying about the ministers of Pras and Madai, right? They call Sarai Hamelech and all the ministers of the king, right? They're gonna have problems with their wives. So this is maybe appealing more to Akish's own personal involvement. Okay, what does he really care if if all over the kingdom people are having problems with their wives? What does he really care? But now this pasuk is focusing our attention. It's actually drawing it, and it's drawing Achashverosh's attention. No, this is going to be affecting your government. All your ministers are going to be busy with fighting with their wives. They're not going to have a chance to take care of their needs in the government. This is going to weaken the government. It's not going to. First pasuk is talking about in general the society, right? Gonna have a lot more problems in the Sholem Bayis. Gonna have a lot of problems in Sholem Bayis. Okay, so that's weakening the society. Okay, fine. So, you know, but now he sees it's going to be affecting his government, going to be affecting his ministers. So people are going to become dissatisfied, and especially if the ministers of his own government are becoming dissatisfied, so that's a direct threat to the king. So I think in the previous pasuk, in pasuk Yud Zayin, that's a threat to the society in general, and here in pasuk Yud Ches, it's a direct threat to the king as well. Okay. Uh, okay, I think we can go on to the next pasuk.
Im al hamelech tov yetzei devar malchus mil fanav v'yika save v'dat say paras umadai v'lo ya'avor asher lo sav'o Vashti livnei hamelech Achashverosh umal kusa yitain hamelech lir usa ha tova mimena. If it please the king, the good king, let it be decreed and written in the laws of Persia and Media, not to be changed, that Vashti will not come before the king Achashverosh, and I'm sorry, then let the king give her royal title to someone better than her.
Right. Let's take a look at the document here in the Siman Yud Tes.
Im al hamelech tov shete hey atzteinu tova lifanav. What's atzteinu?
Like from Eitzer, our counsel or our advice.
Okay, so it should be that there should be good advice before the king. Vayikasav v'divrei paras umadai, that it should be written in the laws of Persia and Media, לפי שהייסה לפרס, לפרס ומלכוס, that it should be, what is paras?
That's part from Persia, right? It should leafy the fisha the pras hamalchus. It should be that for the kingdom of Persia.
The Pierkas
No,
Hakdim
no.
Pras,
Right, thank you.
the Madai, the whole Divrei Memuchan.
No, no. Someone said that was the one point in the Medrash. It says here, what is it? What is it? Why are they saying pras umadai, right? Pras umadai, the Persia and Media, right? Why? Since Shahaisa the pras hamalchus, since Achashverosh, he was the Persian king, right? He was the Persian king. Therefore, lefika hiktin pras lamada. Therefore, it preceded. They put the kingdom of Pras before the kingdom of Madai. That's one point. Meaning you could ask in general, right? It says Prasu Madai, right? You have this phrase Prasu Madai. So when this phrase occurs, right? When this phrase occurs, you see that that Pras is listed before Madai. Okay. So you could wonder why was it that Madai? Why was it Madai first and Pras not? So the reason is because Madai was not the kingdom of Achashverosh. Pras was his kingdom, meaning he was basically the Persian king,
Right.
and Pras was and Madai was like the what's it called the
Satellite.
Exactly, beautiful, perfect satellite. It was the satellite, perfect, exactly.
So, well, why is this important? Why do I care about this detail?
Why do we care about this detail?
He was the king of the whole known world, right?
Right. Uh, see if you take it says for even in the very beginning, as you look at pasuk gimel, right? He called here. He says bishna shlosh lamalchoi asa mishte. He made a feast. The call Sarav to all his ministers, all Avadav, all his servants. Hail Prasumada, the army, the army of Pras Umada, right?
Right.
So it could be. So I mean, why? I think why do we need to know this at this particular point? Why are Chazal telling us this at this particular point? Because perhaps again the previous claim was it's going to interfere with the ministers of Prasamadai, right? V'tiktav b'daite Prasamadai. It should now be written in the annals of the laws of Prasumadai.
Right.
Right, so, okay,
Was Madai the kingdom of Vashti, maybe?
actually, the Bubble was really, she was the granddaughter of Nebuchadnezzar,
Right,
right? She was really from Babel. Um,
but Achashverosh was also in charge of Babel.
yeah, no, he was Marduk Mahodal Kush. He was right. He ruled over the whole world at the time.
Right. So it has nothing to do with Vashti per se.
I don't think so. Um, the reason why would it, why would it be? Why would it be? Second. There is a, there is one in the Meforshim here that speaks about this. Boris Negoyim, will nearly the Rabbadai, in cross Lamada. One second, the Melech, Lamada cross. One second. Uh-huh. Yeah. There are times, I see there are times, it shows up here in Daniel. There are times in Madai is listed before Pras. Several times in Daniel, it's listed Madai Lepras. So, yeah, okay. Yeah, there's something to it. I don't know. I don't know exactly. Um, but something to think about. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Okay, good. Let's continue on. Let's see. That was possibly a test. Okay, that we did the. Oh, wait. We're in the middle of this. 1 second. 1 second. I'm gonna.
Late.
Let's go. Okay, let's good. Let's let's go to the next pasuk. I think we'll leave the rest of this medrash. We'll go to the next pasuk. I think. Bez Hashem. Let's go to
You get
pasuk
it?
ches. Actually, wait. It's 5 to 10, more or less. Okay, it's a good place to stop, I guess. Let's call it for a hold for this for the time being. Please make a note that we're at pasuk chaf.
Okay.
So I guess we'll begin again Yom Rishon Bez Hashem with pasuk chaf.
Amen.
Bez Hashem. Okay.
Mayor, don't go anywhere. I need to talk to you for a second.
Okay,